So if you've watched any of my manifestation videos recently, you have probably heard me talking about how self-worth is really the secret key to manifestation. But how do you know if your self-worth is low or not? So today I wanted to make a video about the 3 signs of low self-worth that you can start to look out for in your own life. So if you're curious about whether or not your own self-worth is lower than it should be, then be sure to come join me and keep watching. What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Jen. I am a spiritual life and business coach, and you are now part of my YouTube world here, where I make 2 videos for you every week all about the art of combining mindset and manifestation together so you can align yourself with your goals and become your best self. So if you are interested in going from struggle to sparkle, then be sure to go ahead and smash that subscribe button. So as I said at the top, self-worth is really the key to manifestation if we want to get really simplistic with the practical approach to the whole thing. That's because if your self-worth isn't a match to what you really want, then you are going to figure out a way to self-sabotage, to push it away, to pretend you're not worth it yet, and to otherwise keep it just out of arm's reach so you can never quite get there. So if you're having problems manifesting, if you keep coming into the same problems over and over again, or keep trying to manifest the same thing over and over again and it's not working, I would really suggest looking at your self-worth issues. And of course, those will be different depending on what in particular you are trying to manifest. But today I wanted to give you a sort of bigger look at the world of self-worth or worthiness so that you can start to look for some signs that maybe your self-worth isn't quite where it should be. Because the unfortunate truth, the thing that most people have such a hard time accepting, but once you accept it becomes the key to bringing you to somewhere new, is the idea that we have created our world. So that means if you are settling for something in your life, it is because on some subconscious level in your brain, you think that that is all you deserve. You think that that is what you're worthy of. And of course, if that's what you think you're worthy of, it is going to be difficult for you to bring in the thing that you are thinking about or trying to manifest. So today I wanted to show you guys 3 examples of ways your self-worth might be dangerously low, because this isn't always as easy to spot as you think. And a lot of people are walking around right now thinking that they have great sense of self-esteem and self-worth. Yet when it comes down to it, when you look at their results, when you look at their reality, that clearly isn't the case. So this is where I want you to start looking. And my idea here is not to shame you or to make you feel bad, but this is to illuminate you and to give you an idea of where you might need to do some work and where you can start doing some healing so that you can finally overcome this and learn how to love yourself, learn how to accept yourself, and call in the thing that you really want in life. Okay, so the first sign of dangerously low self-worth that I want to share with you today is under-earning. So under-earning is something that I suffered from most of my life. I had a lot of money issues, and I'm still working on those money issues. But when I look back into my jobs in my 20s and early 30s even, I definitely was settling a lot of the time. I did not feel confident enough in my worth to negotiate a higher salary, to even stand for the annual raise I was supposed to get. Like all of those kinds of things really did not come second nature to me at all. Nobody really told me about that stuff, and I did not go out and educate myself on it, which is the most important factor here. It is a lot easier to stay in victim mode. Trust me, I know. It is a lot easier to stay in victim mode and say, my boss doesn't appreciate me, this company is cheap, la 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 la, whatever the reasons are. But when it comes down to it, I had to admit there was a common denominator amongst all these jobs, and that common denominator was me. So I was really the reason why I was settling. I was the reason why I was taking on these things that were not paying me well at all. And once I realized that, I could go out there and start to fix those issues. But it was a long road to figure that out, you guys. And that was really in my life a real concrete, can point right directly to it, example of how my self-worth was not where it should have been. It definitely wasn't where it should have been around money. And again, like I said, I think in this issue, when it comes to under-earning, we can get stuck in victim mode so easily instead of admitting to ourselves that on some level we are settling. But if you're settling for something, that means you are not enforcing your own standards. You are not living up to your potential. You are not going for what you really want. That is the key point to look for in all of these examples I'm going to give you today. So if this resonates with you, if you are chronically under-earning, it's okay, my friends. Welcome to the club. But it is good to become aware of this so you can start to heal it and you can start to understand that everything comes from your self-worth and that this is definitely an area that you need to work on. The second sign of dangerously low self-worth that I want to talk about today is the toxic or dead-end romantic relationship. So this is another big example that, again, I have definitely been there. And again, none of these points I'm making today are meant to shame you, but again, is meant to illuminate you and maybe to shed a little light on something that might be missing from your world. So I have been there, like I said, and I know many of my friends have been there. But settling for a relationship that isn't really what you want is never a good thing. And I know that especially as women, we are so good at lying to ourselves and to telling ourselves that, oh, well, one day this person is going to change for me, or one day this person is going to do what I want them to do or become who I want them to become. And that unfortunately just is never the case. Like, when people show you who they are, it is your job to believe them. And once I learned that piece of relationship advice, so many things changed in my world. So if you are settling for a relationship where it's like, you know, fighting all the time, or if your partner is emotionally abusing you or trying to control you in any way, or if it's just a relationship where, you know, it used to be good, but like now the spark is gone and you're not really sure that this is the person you want to be with anymore, it is completely okay. It is completely okay. Again, I know that it is hard when you're in the moment to realize these things, to admit these things to yourself. But one of the best things that you can do for yourself if you're in this situation is to figure this out and to get out sooner rather than later. We all have this sunken cost fallacy, thinking that, oh, I've already put in 6 months or 6 years or whatever it is, so that I should just keep going and give this my all. And we think that because we've been in it for such a long time that we owe the relationship more time to figure things out. But I can just tell you, my friends, like, and I've again learned this myself, and I've seen this in the world around me, but the things that are happening for you, the feelings that you have, like, none of that stuff is just going to change on its own. So yes, you can sometimes fix a relationship, but it's going to take effort from both parties in order to do that, or a real huge effort from one person, depending on the situation, or you just need to cut your losses and go for it and go find the thing that you really want and just admit to yourself that this is not what you really want. So settling for less than what you want, than what you've fantasized about, than what you've dreamt of for your whole entire life in your romantic sphere is the exact same thing as settling for less money than you deserve in your financial arena, in your career. So this is just a sign that your worth is lower than it should be, and it is just a really big cue that you need to do a little bit of work on self-love and claiming what you want and claiming what you deserve, because we all deserve to be happy, you guys, and suffering your way through a relationship is not making anybody happy. So I could talk a lot more on this subject, and I probably will, but this is a really good place to start if you think that you might be suffering from low self-worth. Okay, my third and final example of dangerously low self-worth behaviors today is the buffering behavior. And when I say that, I'm sure you're probably like, what does that mean? But a buffering behavior is just basically any behavior that becomes a habit that isn't a good and healthy habit. A buffering behavior could very easily be like an addictive behavior. So drinking too much, gambling too much, like watching too much porn, whatever that might be. Or it could be something that is completely innocent looking on the outside, like looking at Facebook, playing video games, watching Netflix. Like all of these behaviors, when it comes down to it, is a way for us to hide from ourselves, to hide from our emotions, or to pretend that things are okay. It's kind of like a self-soothing behavior. And so any of these behaviors in and of themselves, like having a glass of wine, of course, having a glass of wine by itself, not a problem, of course, right? But if you have to have a glass of wine 2 glasses of wine, half a bottle of wine every single night to unwind from work, then that of course becomes a problem. That becomes a system of dealing with stress that is really not good for you. That's actually probably making things worse. So buffering behaviors, of course, come from us trying to hide something, but these behaviors usually indicate to me that there is something wrong, that there is something that we are running away from, or that there's some sort of pain that we're avoiding. So again, this little video that I'm making today isn't going to be enough to go in depth into the very complicated places where these kinds of behaviors might come from. But if you are experiencing something like this, if you are spending hours and hours and hours on Facebook, if you feel like you can't function without constantly checking Facebook, if you feel like you have to have the half a bottle of wine every night, or whatever the case might be, I'm going to guess that there's something else going on in your world or going on inside of you, that is what the real problem is, and you're just sort of masking it with this behavior. So again, addiction is a very serious thing. Of course, I'm not going to go too far into that, but of course there are definitely people in the world that can help you with that. But what I just want to offer you in this video, again, is like what I said in the other examples that I gave you, but you have the right to be happy. You have the right to live an amazing life. And you were brought here for a reason. And the reason that you are here is not for you to spend several hours a day thinking, like being the Facebook referee and getting into all the fights and doing all those things and basically turning away from your actual real life. Sometimes it's a lot easier for us to focus on something outside of ourselves, or to take down the level of hurt by looking at something or using something else outside of ourselves. But if you're taking away from your own life, then it's really interesting to ask yourself the question of what you're running away from. What are you trying to bandage? What are you refusing to face? Many times this stuff comes from our own selves. And I'm bringing this up again because I have definitely been there, you guys, in parts of my life, especially in my 20s. I had there was one summer where I was out drinking all the time, like every night basically, and I was deeply unhappy in that point in my life, and I was definitely running away and using the alcohol and the partying as a way to escape from thinking about what the real problem was. And the real problem was partially not being happy at work, under-earning, being in a horrible relationship, all of those things. So all of these things kind of go together. And like I said at the beginning, I'm making this video to sort of not shame you, not to call you out, not to make you feel bad, but to help to illuminate and to help to remind you, to really give you that big reminder that you deserve so much more than this. You deserve to not have a life of settling and pretending that things are okay, because settling and pretending is not genuine happiness. That is just you faking it. Life is not about you faking it, my darlings. Life is about you really living your best potential and creating your divine happiness. So that's it for today's video. What did you all think? I would love to know your thoughts and opinions about this, and I would love to know which part resonated the most with you. So if you're struggling in your career or in a relationship, if you're having buffering behaviors and you want to talk about it, if you want to share, go ahead and drop a comment below. I would love to strike up a conversation with you about this stuff. If you like this video today, please do me a favor, give it a like. If you know a friend that could use this message, go ahead and pass this along to them. Please help me in sharing this message far and wide. I would love your help so much in doing that. If you want to watch more from me, you can go ahead and click my latest upload right here, or you can hang out with me for the long haul and hit subscribe right here. Thank you guys again so much for being here. I'll see you in the next one. And as always, just remember, get ready for the miracle. See you guys.